Good morning, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to sit down with me today for coffee and the Word. That time each morning we examine a small portion of God's Word, and then we apply it to our lives so we can become a little more like Jesus today than we were yesterday. So grab that cup and we'll get going. We're going to move into a different theme today. We're going to use some stuff by Craig Etheridge entitled His Way Still Works, a fresh look at the life and the ministry of Jesus and why it matters today. Etheridge begins, and he said, "The day was clear as we cautiously climbed our way up to the steep northern slope of Challenger Point, a momentum summit in the Sangre de Cristo range of the Colorado Rockies. There are only 95 other 14ers in the United States, and Challenger Point towers 14,087 feet into the sky. Above the tree line there's a thin coat of shale that covers the mountain. Small rocks and broken shards of stone that cover the landscape make it hard to get your footing. Many times I found myself sliding down the side of a mountain, reaching for anything to stop my downward momentum. The best way to traverse a steep pitch like this is to follow the well-worn path, which is already marked by the countless mountaineers who've climbed the mountain. Staying on this path takes you to the peak and prevents you from getting lost along the way. Since prehistoric times, climbers have used small stacks of rocks called cairns to mark the path and establish the landmarks. The word cairn comes from the Scots Gaelic word cairn, which simply means a stack of stones. In ancient Scottish lore, warriors would choose one stone before the battle and put them together with the other warriors' stones to form a pile. Afterward, those who survived would remove their stones, using the rest to mark the graves of their fallen comrades. As we ascended the face of the mountain, small cairns directed us along the path to the peak. Somewhere along the way, though, we started to question ourselves. Looking at our maps, we could see the recommended way to the summit. When we looked with our eyes, though, we could also see what looked like the summit in clear view. From our vantage point, it seemed a much shorter route to leave the paved path and bear crawl up there the brae, counting down on our climbing time, and reaching the summit in record speed. We opted for the shortcut. However, we crested the saddle. It soon became clear to us we'd made a mistake. What we thought was the summit was in fact a false summit, a peak that appears to be the summit but is much shorter. If we wanted to reach the true summit at that point, we'd have to traverse a steep, gaping ravine, which would have required climbing ropes and technical skills, both of which we didn't have. The other option was to swallow our pride, to retrace our steps, and to return to the original path. That is what we did. I learned a few valuable lessons that day. First, it's much more effective to follow a path that's already been paved than to pave a new one. Second, veering from the path may inevitably require a reroute. Around this same time, I had become the lead pastor of a church. As I attempted to grow the ministry, I was implementing every church growth strategy I knew, but to no avail. I began to look around at other ministries to see what was trending, what they were doing, hoping I could imitate their success. After much prayer, I came to realize that just as I'd done in the Rockies, I had bypassed a path for ministry that had already been paved. I'd taken a chance on a path that looked like it would lead me to the pinnacle of success. But I was going to need to backtrack and rediscover the path for ministry that Jesus had created. I was going to need to learn the Jesus way of doing ministry. Join me again tomorrow, and we'll take a greater look at what the Jesus way of doing ministry was. Be blessed and have a grace-filled day.